and thank you for joining us for another edition of Market Talk from Innovative Ag Services. Today, our beef production specialist David Rueber explains why cash cattle is stuck near $240 despite futures gains, how feeder cattle prices are hitting record highs, and the cheap feed strategy that could reshape your hedges. All that and more right now from David Rueber.
Cash cattle market not really started yet this week. Last week it had been 240, a handful of 241s, but mostly right around that 240 market. You know, a few cattle tick under that as well, but that would have caught kind of the weighted average. This week looking for fairly steady kind of money. Board had a good day today. We were up $1.50. You know, that box beef price just kind of struggling. It's doing its seasonal deal, kind of dipping down in July. Packer margins continue to look tougher and tougher. But boy, that board's trying to catch up with cash. You know, we keep setting records every week on futures prices, and we're back at her again this week. It's been a fair amount of warm days this summer, but not something that causes major problems with cattle. We'll lose a pound or two of dry matter intake, but boy, these cattle have handled the summer pretty good for the most part. Had some pretty heavy rain areas, obviously, you know, overnight here, but most of these guys' cattle in sheds doesn't really have much of an effect on them. You know, probably the big story this week is these feeder cattle prices just continue to explode. You know, 7-weight heifers running $330, 7-weight steers running $360, 8-weight steers running $330. You know, just crazy high prices. Break evens that we thought were crazy at $220 are now pushing $230. You know, that futures market on those deferreds continues to work higher. I wouldn't go out there and say that we got major hedgeable cattle we're buying, but, you know, at least the futures market's rallying some to where you can look at doing something if you want to. Cost of gains right now, we got cheap hay, cheap wet feed, cheap corn. You know, cost of gains 90, 95 on steers, around $1 on heifers. That's using $4 corn, give or take a little bit. But yeah, that's probably the play that we've got is just that cheap cost of gain. And what I'm afraid of is when we get to some of these high price break evens, we thought we were making cattle big. Now we're gonna make them real big when we're, you know, on the wrong side of this deal, trying to put pounds on to keep lowering that break even. So that's the thing to watch for, you know, 6 months down the road. How big, you know, can you get away with making some of these cattle? So good times now. Keep her going. Keep heading out to these county fairs. Have a steak sandwich, grab a cheeseburger, and everybody's happy.
David, thank you. And thank you for joining us for this latest edition of Market Talk. Remember, for more information, just go to our website, innovativeag.com, and be sure to follow us on social media. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm Nick Weig with Innovative Ag Services.